Hello, welcome to this mini message from us, Alyson.
And Edward.
We're back together, back in action.
Yeah, we're back in your apartment.
Yeah, back in my apartment after 6 months.
Six months.
You were here in January.
This is
6
true.
months, yes. We're sitting on the living room floor. Good times.
Yeah.
As you most likely know, we've both just done a bit of traveling. You're still doing traveling.
Yes, I'm still traveling. We will be traveling technically too.
We will.
We'll be going to Philly next week. Or this
We're going
week.
to go to Philly on Friday.
Yes.
We're going to take the nice little drive from my home to Philly.
Yep, that's how it works.
Yeah. Well, we could be flying.
Oh, I mean, yes, but we are driving.
It'd be like a 2-minute flight. I'll go up just to come back down. But anyway, we digress as per usual. Today, we just have some interesting travel stories.
Yeah, we've basically shared a lot of stories already between the two of us. So this is mostly an update for all of you. I'll go first. An update on my actual travels. Obviously, I was in LA per my last mini message. And I flew Spirit for the first time to Baltimore, where Alyson picked me up, which was baby's first time on Spirit and like only third domestic flight in my entire life, which is crazy.
Wild. It shocks me.
Yeah,
shocks about both of those, the Spirit thing and the whole domestic flight thing.
Yeah. I was not exactly domestically flying until more recently in life. But all that being said, not everyone said anything about me flying Spirit, but everyone definitely raised an eyebrow and kind of like, interesting. And I would say, no, there's like a vibe to it, but all in all, not terrible. I was next to one man. I was in the middle seat. That was terrible. But honestly, not the like least spacious flight I've been on. Like,
interesting.
Spirit had more legroom for me than most Ryanair flights do.
Nah, that I understand.
Yeah.
Because Spirit is still an American carrier.
True. But even I was on, I think it was my Condor flight from Frankfurt to Vancouver. It was like one of the smallest seats I've ever sat in. It was truly horrific.
As soon as you said Condor, which I did not know it was a Condor flight, I was like, that's a rickety box.
Well, it's a Lufthansa company.
Oh.
But it's like, I
budget?
think their budget thing. Yeah. So, still great service, but like, let me tell you, minis were not serviced very well. So anyway, that being said, it wasn't truly terrible. Everyone kept saying that like the service would be like whack or whatever, but it was just kind of normal. They were a little bit strict, but I've noticed that like most domestic flights seem quite strict. So there's that. Yeah. But anyway, I was sitting in the middle. Left of me was a man who was giggling at every joke made by the flight attendants and then also was watching jazz videos the entire flight, which I thought, wow.
Jazz videos?
Like what? People playing jazz. Like he was watching the videos of people like playing the piano.
Was he listening to the sound as
yes,
well?
Yes. But I found it strange that he was actively watching as well. And then on the other side of me was a man who was playing sort of like a Dungeons and Dragons type mobile game who was manspreading to high hell and also had a dog between his legs. So on that regard, not great. The dog was well behaved. First dog I'd ever been next to on a flight. Also checking off a lot of first times for me on Spirit. And I had an overall completely fine time. So glad I bought snacks beforehand.
That's good.
Because otherwise I would have been starved to death by that budget airline. So all in all, would I like to fly Spirit again? No. Would I if I had to? Yes. Would I expect the next time to be as good as this one? No, probably not.
Yeah, I was one of those people who like didn't say anything to you because I didn't want to bring the bad juju, the bad vibes.
Yes.
But I was just waiting for the worst.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the worst, and it didn't come. So like, I'm very happy.
Not at all. From start to finish, like check in, bag drop off.
Yeah.
Like the flight wasn't even that delayed really at all. It was fun.
That's good.
With everything going on, a true shock.
Take it.
Yeah. What's your update? What's your story?
So I had an interesting trip to Toronto, my flight to Toronto from Washington. So I flew Porter. It was my first time flying Porter. I knew it was like a more budget, like smaller airline. And so their hub is the smaller airport in Toronto, Billy Bishop.
I didn't even know it existed until you told me.
Tiny little baby airport, Billy Bishop. It's on an island off of Toronto, like off the city. Yeah. So, because they obviously have their main airport, Pearson, but then Porter flies to Billy Bishop. And so I get to the airport. My flight was early in the morning, like 7 a.m. Get to the airport, like, it's empty. There's not many people there. I'm waiting at my gate, like, not busy at all. They boarded everyone at the same time. We were on the plane, like that. We did have to gate check all of our like roller bags, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Because it was such a small plane that they wouldn't fit on the plane.
Right.
Which not my first time having this, but no big deal. I'm like, okay, it's a smaller plane. So I go to get on the plane. I blast my head on like the entryway door. That's how small it is.
I've never heard it phrased blast my head.
Oh yeah, luckily they had like really thick padding there because I'm assuming everyone just like eats it because it's so low. Like they gave a warning getting off the plane. I was like, where was the warning when we were getting on the plane when I hit my head already? But whatever. So I get on the plane, I turn the corner to get to my seat. It's the smallest plane I've ever been on. I'm like,
how small?
Am I on a freaking seaplane here?
Did it have propellers?
It had propellers. It literally had
two rows on each side?
Yes. 2 rows on each side. Obviously, like, no TV screens.
The back is like 3 seats?
Yeah, the tiniest armrests I've ever seen. Like, these seats were literally, like, there was nothing to them. But thankfully, it wasn't a full flight. So, like, I had... my row, the whole 2 seats was to myself. So I'm just like sitting there chilling, waiting. So like I said, it was super quick. Everyone boarded really quickly because there weren't a lot of people. And then, flight attendants are like doing their thing. We're getting ready to leave, right? So on the right side of the plane, that propeller starts going. The propeller's going. It's going real fast. My propeller's not going. I'm really close to the propeller too, and I'm looking out my window and I'm like waiting for my propeller to start. I'm like, when's my propeller gonna go? Like the other one has been going for 5 minutes now. My propeller hasn't moved.
At all.
I'm like, this is a bad sign. And I'm like, stay calm, stay cool, it's fine. Like maybe the propeller's gonna go. And so the people behind me, there were 2 of them in a seat, and they wanted to switch seats. So they, like, obviously, so they could have a seat, a whole row to themselves, They weren't together. And there were a few open rows. And so the flight attendant was like, we were waiting for, like, 2 last-minute stragglers or whatever, and they got on. And then so she finally was like, yeah, that's fine, you can move. And the person had, like, pointed out the seat they wanted to move to. She's like, you can't sit in that one. You have to sit on this side of the plane. It's a balance thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like... We're on a plane that's so small that 100 and potentially 50-pound human could throw the whole thing off kilter. You've got only one propeller works.
Wait, you didn't know that's a thing?
No, I didn't know that. I've never been on a plane that small where
I think it's
human.
Most planes. I don't know if it even matters that it's that small.
But it was just one person wanting to move, and I was like, okay, we're off balance. Only one propeller is working. Why isn't my propeller going? We did the whole, like, reverse away from the gate, like, get to the runway, and it's still just the one propeller. And I'm like...
Maybe it was powered by wind energy.
If my propeller doesn't start going, what's going to happen? So finally, we're about to take off, and my propeller's good. I'm like, come through, propeller, come through. But then get this. This whole thing is just, like, topped off by when they came to do the food and beverage service.
Mm-hmm. You got your bag of pretzels?
No, I got my choice, and I chose Walker's shortbread.
Oh, it was between cookies and pretzels, though?
It was between cookies and crisps, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was pretzels. Yeah. And on the way back, they had, like, 4 or 5 different options.
Oh,
it was lovely. But they deliver your drinks in an actual engraved glass. It is a glass, and it has porter, like, etched on it.
That's
I'm like,
wild.
My mind is blown. We're propellers.
Did they come with it on a tray?
Little armrest. No, it doesn't come on a tray. But I'm like, how do you have real glass? You spent all your money on these etched glasses. That's why. That's why we got a plane with one wonky propeller. But It was good. The people were super nice and friendly. It was a quick flight. We landed early. We didn't die. The propellers worked.
I will say, the very first flight I ever went on was a plane that was that small. And I was flying to Toronto.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
Everyone else had, like, previously flown. And I was the only one who hadn't, I think. And the girl next to me was like, it'll be fine. And I was just like, okay, if you say so.
Sure.
Like, this is like looks like a plane that, like, the Wright brothers made. Like,
Honestly, I was
yeah.
like, what is going on? But I was by myself, so I'm like keeping it calm, cool, and collected. And it all worked out.
You're also 29, not 18.
Yes, I am 29.
Oh, you're not 29. I'm 29.
I'm 29. What do you mean?
Well, you were 29 40 years ago.
I am 29 today, live and in the flesh.
Yeah, in front of my own 4 eyes.
True.
All right, well, that's our update. We both flew and we both lived to tell the tale.
Always a good day.
Yes. We'll be back for good next week. So make sure if you need to, send in a message at 202-630-4509 or a message from pod@gmail.com. Check us out on amfpod.com for extra stuff. Rate and review everywhere you rate and review. And check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and all that stuff. You'll find it at amfpod.com. So we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.